the war part of this movie doesn't make sense, but is it entertaining
Yeah,
enough for you
it's
to
entertaining.
to forgive it not making sense? Hi, this is Kit and this is Vernon.
And we are going to review Overlord.
What did we watch?
We watched a very competent, very standard, very entertaining mismatch of zombie horror and historical military World War II, which was what was advertised in the trailer, and it delivered.
So, on the eve of the Normandy landing, an American platoon is tasked to take out a tower in a church that controls or jams the radio signals that are needed to direct the invasion itself.
Which technically, militarily doesn't make sense, but
Nothing military in this movie makes sense.
But yeah, we'll get to that later. But let's talk about
yeah,
the story.
okay.
Yeah.
So the setup is this. That's the war part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The zombie part is more of mad scientists. They discover that the church is used by a mad German scientist.
Not mad.
Okay, they are fanatical. There is a fanatical or possibly mad German scientist who is trying to create zombies out of the town folk.
Yeah, but he's not a lone mad scientist. I mean, it's the entire German unit there.
Do you want to start with the horror movie or do you want to start with the war movie? I actually enjoyed the horror movie more, but that's not really saying much.
I thought it was a good balance because the horror, they kind of hinted it, but they only like really start almost like 1 hour into the movie. So actually the first like half of the movie is like 95% war movie, which kind of works somehow.
It kind of works because you've got Euron Greyjoy as the evil German captain. Terrorizing the poor, the only girl in the village.
The build-up is good.
But he's no Christoph Waltz.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of storytelling, I'm not too big on
acting.
I'm more a story guy.
But acting delivers the story.
Yeah, but with a good story, actually, the acting doesn't matter, the special effects doesn't matter, the sets don't matter, as long as you have a good story. And these guys, I think, they had an above-average story.
They have an above-average script.
Not a classic. I mean, it's not brilliant, but it's competent. It's very competent.
What would you say is a classic? Because I haven't heard of that many World War II horror mashups.
Not a direct comparison. I mean, just generally in terms of the impact or its status in the history of movies.
This is something that's really B horror movie written all over it. I think the closest comparison I can think of is the Double Bill by Quentin Tarantino. The second half of the Death Proof Double Bill.
I was actually thinking of Sucker Punch.
There was horror in it?
No, but at least from the trailer, the fight scenes looked a bit Sucker Punchy, and the lighting was good. I mean, not as good as Zack Snyder would have done, but the lighting was a bit of average. Or maybe average. The standards today are very high, so yeah, it looked good.
It looked good, but at a certain point, when the CGI goes to the war part of the movie, it looks really bad.
No,
it looks very competent CGI, but it looks really, really fake for some reason to me.
It looked okay to me. I mean, it's industrial light and magic. I mean, how bad can
it's
these guys
industrial light and magic, but I cannot imagine the practicalities of a US bomber, B-52, flying immediately overhead a village, right at the...
A B-52 is a jet.
So what?
Can probably
turboprop?
probably deployed in 1952. That's why it's called a B-52.
Okay, so what plane was it at the
That was a DC-3 or
okay, a
the,
DC.
the military version's a C-47.
Okay, so we'll redo that. I cannot.
No, I will make you look like an idiot in front of the world.
For actual war scenes actual war scenes where we've got lots of planes flying overhead
Yeah.
and all that, lots of
Yeah.
planes exploding, they
Yeah.
kind of look a little fake to me. I mean, no offense to Industrial Light and Magic, I think it's probably poor storyboarding. The angles just look wrong. Those bombers in those days,
They were not bombers.
When-
Those were not bombers.
okay, the DCs were never meant to fly that low, so low that they practically fly overhead a village at the end of the film.
Those were not DC-3s. Those were fighter bombers.
You told me those are DC-3s.
At the start of the movie, I thought you meant the start of the movie. At
I
the
said
end,
at the end of the movie, but
at the end
anyway,
of
the
those were
planes.
fighter bombers.
Okay, so I just cannot imagine that the planes at the beginning of the movie and the fighters at the end of the movie fly at altitudes that
They do.
don't make sense militarily.
They do. Well, maybe not that low, but just a bit higher. Fighter bombers fly low because they need to be able to see what they're shooting at.
But they already, hint, surprise, took out the church.
Yeah, no, these guys were on the way to the beach, right? Because after they knocked down the towers, supposedly, these fighter bombs can now support the troops on the beach. So that part's okay. It's only more... okay.
But you see, the planes
Uh-huh.
or the fighters were flying this way,
Yeah.
not that way.
But you don't know which way is what. You don't know which way the beach
Film
is.
convention, always.
Okay, do you remember the end of Saving Private Ryan? Right, Tom Hanks is injured and he's shooting his Colt 45 at the oncoming German tank, and suddenly it blows up,
Yeah.
and then a fighter bomber flies overhead.
Yes. In the wrong direction. In
Well-
the wrong direction, I tell
Well,
you.
the fighter bomber could hit the German tank because it was low enough to see it and accurately aim. Fighter bombers fly low.
Okay.
Maybe not that low, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's other stuff, but it's things like the DC-3s, the C-47s, they would not be flying so closely together, especially when you go into cloud. Because one thing is, you want to spread out so that the anti-aircraft gunners don't have such a big target, and you don't want to crash into each other.
Which is
especially in cloud.
precisely what happened in the movie.
No, they didn't show planes crashing into each other.
They
They got hit by anti-aircraft fire.
most of the bomber wing got shot down by flags
It's not-
because they flew too close to each other. It's like, I mean, it looks good on screen. Industrial Light and Music made it look good on screen.
Magic.
Industrial Light and Magic made those war scenes look good on screen, but they just
That's a
didn't-
director's call. That's a director's
they
call.
just look ridiculous from
No.
a military point of view.
No, I mean it's things like they had a tracer fire coming out from the bottom of the aircraft. Very unlikely because that's shorter range, and if you're flying an aircraft, the bullets will not come through the same part of the aircraft. It would move very quickly. But all that is very very detailed, nitpicky stuff.
Well, we call it artistic liberty.
Well, okay, while we're on it, I'm not sure that the Germans actually used flamethrowers. It was mainly an American thing. They might have, I'm not sure.
It
But
probably was a British thing, which makes it even worse.
Okay, I'm going to spoil flamethrowers for you in every movie from now on, okay? The flamethrowers you see in movies, they are gas flamethrowers. The real ones were napalm. You've got this sticky petroleum liquid which they spray, and it catches on fire and
It sticks to you.
It sticks.
So that you can't do the
Which is
roll over
which
on the
is-
ground and that kind of thing.
which-
Fall and roll over, right?
And they purposely made it sticky, yeah, because it's deadlier. Yeah, it stays on you. But of course, you don't want to do it in the movie, so they use gas. It's just this plume of flame that just disappears, just burns off and disappears. Yeah. So But yeah, I mean that's really detailed. I mean, for standard movie convention, it's fine. Oh, and this French girl, this French peasant, villager, knows how to use a flamethrower.
Not only that, she dresses in leather for no apparent reason.
Boots?
Leather jacket as well. It's like
Maybe a gift from Theo Joy, Greyjoy.
Euron Greyjoy. Maybe.
Oh,
it's
Euron, not Theo.
Euron. Yeah, I said Euron.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah,
okay.
he's the only Greyjoy who overacts all the
You
time.
didn't have to blow down, knock down the tower. They could just have smashed all the radio equipment.
Yeah, the war part of this movie doesn't make sense, but is it entertaining
Yeah, it's
enough for
entertaining.
you
It's
to
entertaining.
to forgive it not making sense?
Yeah, because this is actually quite detailed stuff. I'm sure most people would not notice it. So it's okay.
Okay, for me, this is strictly a B movie, which means to say it must be entertaining, even if it's silly. In fact, I demand my B movies to be both entertaining and silly.
Define B movie.
Improbable,
No, B movie just means budget. It just means low budget.
yeah, as well as genre these
Kind,
days.
kinda. But I mean, the original meaning was, it's like A-list actor.
I think for me, the war part of this movie is a little bit too serious. There is not enough humor in the horror part as well.
It doesn't-
What I'm impressed with is the prosthetics and the practical effects. Kudos to that. They employed it really well in both parts of the
Are
movie.
you sure you can tell the difference between practical effects and CGI?
Yes. If it looks too good, it's CGI.
That means so you're saying it looks bad.
I demand my B movies to look bad.
No, but okay, back to what you said about humor. You're assuming that it has to have humor. No, I mean, you have to give them the freedom to choose whatever tone they wish. It's
Yeah,
only
but
whether
if
it
you
works or
cast
not.
Euron Greyjoy
No, come on.
as the bad guy and he does ham it up,
No.
and he's the only one who hams it up, you have the problem of an actor who is acting in a completely different film than the rest of the cast.
No, I
So
didn't notice
for
that. It
that
looked okay.
part, it felt a little off.
It looked okay
Because
to me.
he was on manic mode.
He was in evil Nazi mode, and he was the only evil Nazi aside from the mad scientist. So it worked.
And the mad scientist wasn't that mad. He was just speaking in German, in
Yeah.
agitated tones.
Because he's not really a mad scientist. This is not Frankenstein, so this is like more like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Nazis doing weird science, mystical shit. To develop weapons.
Yes, it has something to do with the French terroir.
What?
Soil.
Oh, soil. Okay.
Yes, terroir.
Oh, terra.
Yes. But they did not actually take it to that allegorical extent.
Yeah, there was almost nothing about the origin of the zombies.
There's no allegory, social or
No, that's fine.
ideological,
Doesn't
which
have
is
to.
fine. But then you see, it leaves a lot of fun stuff out, potentially fun stuff out.
No, I thought-
Was it fun enough for you?
Yeah. And it's really very standard, very convenient. Even the runtime is like 1 hour 40 minutes, and this is
No,
like,
it was 1 hour 48 minutes,
okay. This is like
which was a little long.
yeah, but it's almost like 100 minutes is almost like the standard Hollywood runtime now. So
100 minutes?
yeah, but
Was the standard Hollywood runtime maybe 2 decades ago?
no, I'm not talking about Michael Bay. I'm talking about still your normal average movie. Maybe 100 plus a bit. But so I mean, aside from the long build-up, which I thought worked, I mean they really built up the military stuff before introducing the zombies, except for a little bit of foreshadowing here and there. But somehow it worked because it introduces the characters. It makes
Before killing them off, but then this is a war movie and a horror movie at the same time, so.
it does make somehow the story more believable.
If if you are in, if you're watching this to believe in any part of the movie, I don't know what to say.
No, I mean it's like Alien, right? You believe it's true, even though it's in the future. You've got this crazy monster running around, but you believe it's true. Otherwise, you would not be scared, right?
You don't have to believe in something to be scared. It's just a lot of jump scares, which there are, and loud sudden noises in the film, which there
Okay,
are.
yeah, this is not a scary movie. I was talking about
This,
Alien.
this is, yeah, I'm talking about this movie. This
Yeah.
movie had a few jump scares and a few loud noises, which I thought were unnecessary because, frankly speaking, this was not a scary horror movie. It didn't
It
felt like it didn't need to be a scary horror movie at all.
it wasn't the kind where you're really afraid that the hero will die. You kind of know that it's going to be a happy ending, and it delivered. I mean, so it set it up properly at the start. You know that this is not this kind of movie, and it delivered. So it's fine.
So basically, for me, this is a straight up B grade B movie in which I expect to be really silly and really entertaining because it has rather improbable and ridiculous premise.
And did it deliver?
Did it deliver for me? I would say, well, out of 5, well, it's 3 maybe. So it's a pass.
What? You're giving stars? Serious critics don't give stars.
But that's not a star. I said 5. I didn't say 5 stars.
5 durians?
5 durians.
Okay.
The problem for me is the premise is the two premises are so ridiculous, but the film is not ridiculous enough.
I thought it was entertaining. I mean,
It's moderately entertaining, thanks to Euron Greyjoy. And
it's a good popcorn movie. It's not something that you would really want to watch again, but
yeah, whereas you know what I'd watch again and again?
Sucker Punch.
Rob Zombie's fake trailer for She-Wolves of the SS.
You mean that's not a real movie?
So for me, my qualm with this movie is the two halves of its premises are so improbably silly that to me, the film doesn't try to get away with more silliness. Despite the premise, it really plays out ploddingly.
Ploddingly? You're talking about pacing or
Ploddingly as in
unimaginatively?
and unimaginatively. I mean it could be a lot sillier, but we've got a really straight up. It could have been straight if you took Euron Greyjoy out, because most of the cast were playing it very, very straight.
No, I didn't really think Greyjoy skewed the tone of the movie away from the other actors.
I think Greyjoy understood the script. The rest of the actors and maybe the director himself did not understand the potential in the script.
Anyway, I haven't heard of the writer or directors before, but executive producer J.J. Abrams. This is a Bad Robot production, so
Yes, and he's capable of far more silliness. So
yeah. But you got to give it to J.J. Abrams. He's quite consistent, quality-wise, storytelling-wise. Even though he's just, I think, executive producer or producer.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's an entertaining popcorn movie with good visuals, good lighting. It might be too dark for the general public, I think, because
Well,
general
it's
public
set
likes to
in the
see-
basement of a church. So
But okay, things like that,
lots of narrow corridors with cells on sides.
things like the outdoor scenes in the forest at night. The moonlight does look kind of realistic. It's possible to do outdoor night lighting really badly, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the
were
lighting.
okay. So production value is good, storytelling good, acting I don't really know. I'm not really an acting kind of guy. Watch it once, enjoy it, forget about it. This is not a classic. This is not a groundbreaking.
Yeah, it's
or
no
anything.
classic. It delivers a story, and that's a story.
It's entertaining.
But could have been far more entertaining.
You can't hold it against her for that, you know.
Recommendations.
Seriously, it just reminded me of Sucker Punch.
Okay, I thought if you really want outrageous, watch Rob Zombie's trailer for She-Wolf of the SS.
How about this kind of genre mashing stuff? You know, zombie plus war movie. So zombie plus I don't know.
Santa Claus goes to Mars, or Santa Claus defeats Mars, or something.
That's not horror.
Yeah, but that's straight B movie goodness.
Okay, alternative Nazi history. They've got this one, Iron. The one with Sarah Palin. What was that?
Oh, the Iron Moon, where the Nazis go to the moon, escape to the moon.
Yeah, that was boring.
The first one was fun for the first half hour.
Oh,
Then they ran out of the conceit.
yeah. But yeah, alternative military Sucker Punch, but you cannot beat Zack Snyder for visuals. So yeah, this was okay.
Yeah, alternatively, Inglourious Bastards.
I didn't see that.
Alternate World War II, ridiculous premise, and the director actually knew that the premise is so ridiculous that he got everyone to make a really silly and entertaining movie.
Okay. That's all we got. See you next time.